Hey there, you're listening to Switch On, a podcast to shape the principles of modern leadership. I'm Helena Mach, and I'll be discussing real experience with successful leaders. Learn from them. How are they dealing with the challenges of today, and how are they building on their learnings for tomorrow's success? In this series, we will focus on leadership principles, where you can find yourself in a situation when you can bend the world to your will, yet you find yourself in a paradox. Welcome to this episode of Switch On. Today we are talking about how we need to become more tech-savvy and more human-aware at the same time. To succeed in today's world, innovation is non-negotiable. Leaders need to ensure progress by creating the culture that will drive the organization into new areas, technologies, methods, products, and services. At the same time, they need to understand why their organization exists. What mandate is being fulfilled by their presence, and what makes them successful to guide their decisions. Leaders are facing many urgent challenges, and in addition to looking to the past to steer their growth, they also need to be willing to try new things and be comfortable with failure, leading their organizations to do the same. One of the biggest challenges we see today is helping customers to buy, and in particular, the key role leaders play in this discussion of transition and transformations. So I'm thrilled to be joined by Igor Pauletič, founder and partner of FrodX, author of Game Changer Portal, and active member of Customer Experience Slovenia community. Welcome, Igor.
Thank you for having me here.
Good to have you with us. Igor, you have this unstoppable energy to explore the new tech solutions within marketing and sales to add value, and you share your experience with your teams and colleagues, customers, yet you manage to remain pragmatic, focused on impact, always motivated by improvement. Tell us more. What has brought you to where you are today, and what motivates you going forward?
I don't know. 10 years ago, I sold my shares in previous company. I made an exit, and after a couple of months, starting thinking what's next, what to do, and I found myself as a good salesman, as a guy who thinks all the time how people and organizations are buying things. What is moving them towards purchasing decision, what influenced them. So that was a start. I thought that I'm quite good at that topic, and after a few years working as a consultant, I found out that technology is a necessity, and without technology we could not be successful anymore as sales organization. We have less opportunities in customer engagement and managing customer experience without technology. So that was a start 10 years ago or 8 years ago.
You're so right. We live in a world that is increasingly technical and increasingly complex.
No, I follow the flow. So it was not let's say planned. I just followed the flow and adding things which were missing in my team or at my customers, so on.
Yeah. I actually think that technology is beginning to affect who we are. It is changing how we decide, how we interact with each other. It's changing how we work. At work, we have colleagues who are incredibly technically capable and people who understand the implications of it. And we need to put them together to create a world where we want to live in. How do you become technically savvy and remember that organizations are run by people for the people?
In my opinion, all generations in the history of humanity have experienced the same feelings. That has always been a feeling that someone will no longer keep up with technology, and younger generations were born with it. and people don't like changes. And development of technology means changes. It's an eternal fight. If I focus more on my work area, helping companies grow their business, better customer service, developing more genuine customer relationships, here I look at technology as steroids that put some organizations in an elusive advantage over others. There's no choice here, I believe. So I'm afraid I have to disagree that technology displaces the sense of people. Quite the opposite. Thanks to technology in developing customer engagement and managing customer experience, it helps companies treat each individual more personally than it was possible ever before. Personalization is a global trend of the last couple of years, which is the consequence of technology mostly. So I think, or let's say, how Google serves hits to your searches is personalized. How your Facebook wall looks are personalized. What should be exposed on Amazon Shop to you is personalized. Technology helps those companies understand your context, your point of interest in the micro moment and on the long run. And managing the context of each individual is a silver bullet.
Mm-hmm. But nevertheless, it's us using that technology, and it affects our personal development. So it affects our personal capabilities. It affects the impact that we are creating toward our customers and the communities that we serve. So I think this goes way beyond the technology development, and actually the human impact should be at the front and the center of our ambition of why we are here, right? How we are actually using it to become better, to deliver higher impact. What is your view on that?
Yeah, I think that technology helps companies to better understand people, to better influence on people, you know, in all aspects, not only selling something. We can talk about influence on managing relationships and so on from the whole life cycle for a customer. So technology is here to help us. Technology somehow is meant to solve problems and some challenges more efficiently than we humans do. And that's how I'm looking. That's somehow let's say my ace when we have to push toward using technology or trying to do business without the technology.
Yeah, you gave me a cue earlier. You are a passionate advocate of technology being used to develop and drive meaningful experiences. When we speak about technology, it doesn't mean just AI or IoT, but we speak about how technology is used, like in social media, for example. How do you see the technology is changing who we are and how we behave?
When I get a question like that, I think that I'm talking with someone who recently watched the movie The Social Dilemma. Social networks are media that are really focused on the development of user engagement. They could say, you could say they are fighting for greater readability with technology. The results of this, however, are that they connect people with similar interests to make it easier for them to share the content they are interested in. Thus, they become more relevant for such groups. Here again, we come to context management, which I talked about earlier. There's nothing wrong with me as far as I'm concerned. Extremists have banded together before and will continue to do so in future, for sure. Technology makes it a little easier for them as well. From my perspective, it seems more problematic that a few companies with commercial interests are setting benchmarks for something we used to be a social consensus. Technology like I said, is meant to solve problems and some challenges for more efficiently than we humans do. And that's how I treat social media. I understand social media.
Yeah, it's so true. Where, in your view, is the limit behind embracing technology when it still benefits us and makes sense? And where should we stop embracing it? Where should be that limit? What's your view on that?
Well, I don't think we are looking for that consensus anymore. It is in the hands of those who invest in technology. We have a hard time influencing them. Simple as that.
Interesting perspective. I never thought of it like that. And you said it so well before. Technology is here to stay, to help us improve what we do and help us scale our effort better. Yet with so much going on these days, it's tempting to continue to execute the things we do well and easy to miss the opportunities that will ensure we remain relevant. It requires the decision of what we will say no to and what needs to continue going forward, while also having the courage to try new things and push new boundaries, having the courage to innovate and fail. How good do you think organizations are in saying no to something they have put a lot of effort into, a lot of energy?
I could answer this question in two ways, probably. Once in terms of providing consulting services and technology to our clients, and secondly, as an entrepreneur running my own business. Let's say every company decides what value it brings to whom and when. Consequently, it is a matter of determining whether your space is in the blue or in the red part of the ocean. If you have decided to seek your resistance in the red ocean, management's mission is to look for increasingly lean ways. That game, that's probably one of the key benefits. But in my business, we are convinced that we are deep in the blue ocean, and the goal is to know something that others do not know. But at the same time, the market wants it. Finding this balance is not the easiest. It's not hard to know something that competitors don't know. It's harder to sell it quickly or in the right time. The customer needs to have some knowledge to be able to decide to buy such things, and that's a challenge. I don't know if I answered your question, but
you have. You actually gave me a lot to think about.
Maybe one more thing. How we
Sure.
achieve this would not be easy to sum up in one brief thought, but probably by talking about who the followers will be and how much time they will need. I cultivate a culture that people think about what they should know, and our competitors won't repeat it for a while. As a team, we constantly get out of the comfort zone and accumulate our development potential in this. That's how I drive my company.
Yeah, this makes me think, do you ever use your past experience, past learnings when you are making future decisions?
Yeah, of course. When you're getting older, most of the decisions are built on past experience. When you're younger, you're innovating and finding new ways, never
Trying to
saw
improve.
in past. Yeah.
But now looking back, maybe 5, 6, 10 years back, which seems really like an eternity, is there anything that you would change with information that you have today?
So for my own company or as a service provider to my customers?
It can be both, actually.
In terms of development, my own company, I decided when I started the company not to have 100, 200, several hundred people in the company. I visualized that my company should be small, agile, somehow easy to manage, organized more like a tribe than as a corporation, And that is a limitation where I feel myself confident, as a manager. I don't want to spend a lot of energy managing people. And I'm quite satisfied the way we had in past years, and I believe that we will continue similar in future. On the other side, when I'm thinking about what kind of service and solutions we provide to our customers and what have changed recently or in past 5-6 years, I think that we are moving more and more towards technology and providing technology solutions. It's not enough only to provide consultancy, how organization should change anything, what kind of skills they should develop, and what kind of people to employ. Now I understand us more as a company which provides new technology in field of sales and marketing. 10 years ago or 8 years ago, I was not so sure that we will become the implementator of different technologies. I felt more like an independent consultant. Mm-hmm. And maybe if we would start it with more technology stuff and focusing more in technology implementations, it would be easier at that moment for us.
Yeah. Well, at least for my experience, change is never easy, because even when you embrace technology, even when you embrace that innovation is really essential, you need to move people as well. You cannot do it alone. You need a momentum, and you need to achieve this sort of click, I would call it, in people's minds. Why is actually this necessary, and how can they contribute? And all organizations need to transform, in my view, not just once, but probably continuously, to be able to adapt to changing environments. And we often hear disrupt or be disrupted these days. But this makes me think about tradition. In every company, there's also a set of values, traditions, norms. If we leave those behind because they constrain us, we haven't achieved much. But if you figure out how to make these things that are unique and special about us and craft them in a way that they resonate with the future, incredible things can happen. In your experience, who in the company has actually the power to decide when to innovate and how to radically transform? And what are the motives?
Yeah, the driver has always been the market, in my opinion. Why else would a company want to invest in development if it didn't need to? You are forced to develop by competitors who offer themselves to your customers with a better offer than yours, or you want to take over someone else's business in such a role. So all the innovations are driven by sales and marketing, in my opinion.
Despite the evidence, right, that we need to embrace the technology, we need to start thinking about new opportunities differently, we need to try doing things differently. Have you, in your discussions with your customers or following the market trends, discover any new dynamics happening, any new shifts in decision making?
I don't know. I think that the need of transformation is not something special in that era. I think that it is continuous process over the history,
You're so right. We just suddenly feel the let's say the higher need that something needs to change quickly. And of course, we talk more about it.
Maybe companies are pushing and creating new waves, and doing marketing that it is necessary to change things, to invest in transformation. But Let's be fair. It's the same thing like it was 10 years ago or 30 years ago, and it will be in the future as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But being the founder of the company that needs to take decisions, where to invest, where to focus the attention, and to review those decisions through time to remain on this growth trajectory, how do you remain or how do you maintain the right balance between investments in technology versus people who are creating added value for your clients? And how do you adapt to these rapidly changing circumstances in terms of customers' expectations, their changing behavior in the B2B environment?
Well, FrodX does not develop technology. We are not a technology provider. We are a consulting company with its 30-member engineering team that helps introduce the best global providers of technology in customer engagement and customer experience, such as SAP, HubSpot, Microsoft, NetResults. It means that all our development is an investment in people. Our development means what we know how to solve new problems that companies have in the marketing and sales or existing problems more efficiently. So learning and acquiring new knowledge is therefore our crucial result of investing in development. My accountant finds this very difficult to understand. He says that investments create new assets, and learn something new cannot be an asset. Of course, I disagree with him.
FrodX is helping companies to digitalize sales and marketing operations to support, manage, and automate their daily routines more efficiently while securing more meaningful customer engagement. My experience shows that the tensions rises with the increased need for a rapid change and with the number of urgent issues that demands to be addressed simultaneously. Though innovation is too often considered as an experiment where rather than meeting something that is incremental and could fully transform how the company operates to deliver higher impact. You mentioned earlier that it is not a one-time process, but during our conversation, you mentioned you see major differences between modern enterprises and traditional businesses in how they embrace change, how they take decisions. Can you share more about your experience and where do you see the biggest obstacles and opportunity areas for the development?
Yeah, in FrodX, we are future-proofing marketing and sales in mature organizations. So sometimes we are struggling to find a new value proposition, enhancing the products and services for our customers. Sometimes we are trying to find new ways to engage with the customers or improving the experience they provide. You are focused on mature organizations mostly. Those that have matured before the digital era and in some way have forgotten how digitalization has affected the consumer and business customers as well. With such organizations, we have more opportunities and show the effects of our work most efficiently. But on the other hand, such organizations have money for our services. So that's why our focus is there. But what makes these organizations different from these modern organizations that are, let's say, digital natives is undoubtedly the different attitudes toward information, not just in terms of accessibility. This may be only the first step. But all modern organizations know how to rely more on data in their business decisions. We say that they are data-driven. Meanwhile, traditionalists, let's say old company, mature companies, are at the stage where they are still editing their data and dealing with their single source of truth. So from an organizational point of view, however, I would say that the critical difference is in development's democratization. Look at the unicorns. In these companies, there is a constant development in every business segment within every team. We teach repetition of something. They think about what could be improved this time. On the other side, all the organizations devote much more energy to how to do repetitions precisely as written in the protocol, ISO standards and so on. The introduction of change is highly centralized and consequentially slow and complex. However, such organizations are more friendly environment for most of people, less change, less stress for employees, except when it breaks seriously.
Mm-hmm. You're so right. I fully agree. I mean, the heritage companies maybe consider current situation as a wake-up call to put the customer first, to become more customer-centric. And probably they didn't think about the opportunities in a way like they do today, because we need to be realistic. Without customers, companies would probably not even exist. But it's not anymore how we are trying to sell to them. It's more about how we are helping our customers buy, right?
Yeah, it's true. Well, two things are in my mind. First, the evergreen trend is to understand how consumers and business customers buy the things you offer. Purchasing habits are changing all the time, constantly, and we forget that. And companies like mine always have a lot of work to do because of that. The other part of the equally old fact, of course, however, is the perception of customer interests. If we try to define interests by individual subsets, we come to contexts that I have already discussed today. A big step forward has been made here. The digital traces that people and connected devices, of course, leave behind are a great starting point for identifying contexts and consequentially personalized address, timing, personalized offer, personalized service. The bigger screen time we have on our devices, the easier the target for processing we are to modern marketing platforms. So there's no longer a target group. Technology addresses every individual in all aspects. Marketing platforms are becoming a necessity, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. So true. Igor, I really love how you are showcasing different stories, different examples, how you're sharing your experience, what impresses you, and you write an article about that, and sharing your guidance from real experiencing, changing hats, assessing different situations from different perspectives. Yet you always remain pragmatic in your assessment. Real case scenarios are so beneficial, and we need more of those. I would guess that you receive a lot of feedback, a lot of attention regarding those. What's driving you in this endeavor?
Well, some say it's because I have too little theoretical knowledge and I try to. So maybe that's true. But however, the easiest way to explain things to people is through examples, purely practical. It seems that misunderstandings occur the least often if we talk through examples we can all understand. There's no other particular theory behind that.
Yeah, they're very valuable. I look forward to the next one. We have been dancing around the term of change and embracing the change, how it's actually, let's say, becoming an everyday component of our lives. But for the change to last, I think it needs to come from within. And for that to happen, we need to question and challenge the status quo and strive to become better as individuals and as organizations. In the conclusion, what would you recommend keeping high on our lists on this journey to bring out the best in our teams and make them shine and elevate their impact through the value we are providing to our customers?
Well, focus on what is difficult and think about how to simplify it. Whatever you do, it is a driver of development, creativity, growth, nothing else.
Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic piece of insight. I'm looking forward to your new guidance and articles to come. Thank you so much, Igor, for sharing your insights and maintaining the momentum high on all things technology we have discussed. You said it beautifully. It's meant to solve problems and some challenges more efficiently than we humans do. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
I feel energized by this discussion when Igor pushes us out of the comfort zone to accumulate the development potential. Going forward, constantly striving to be better, thinking what is coming next is keeping us on edge. While with the help of new technologies, we are developing beyond what we deemed possible. I agree. We should use the momentum and embrace the technology simply to become more efficient and effective at what we do. This podcast is brought to you by Drop of Milk, an impact-driven business consultancy and expert on customer-focused digital transformation. You can learn more at dropofmilk.com.